Last season, the OSRL GT Series didn't disappoint. With 9 different winners and 11 races, the GT class stood alone as arguably some of the most intense racing on the iRacing service. The prototypes have been removed and a pure GT3 series with Pro and Am classes is born, and yet another era begins in the OSRL GT Series. The World Center of Racing is the venue. Next. Our venue for this evening is the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Opened in 1958, this 3.56-mile, 12-turn oval is known around the world to racing fans of any discipline, from NASCAR, sports cars, supercross, and anything in between. The lap begins with a sprint over the iconic start-finish line, followed by a decisive braking zone into Turn 1. Negotiating through the chicane of Turn 2 leads to the International Horseshoe, which promises ample passing opportunities. Exiting the first horseshoe leads to the second, incorporating a mid-turn kink for the challenge of Turn 6, and then we climb onto the renowned banking of the super speedway, interrupted briefly by the Le Mans chicane, demanding unwavering commitment to maximize speed through turns 3 and 4 of the oval, completing a thrilling lap here in Daytona. The format for the OSRL GT3 Series is as follows. We are finishing up practice. We have 15 minutes of qualifying in a moment, and it'll determine our grid for our 45-minute feature race. The 5th season of the OSRL GT3 Series commences tonight live on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer next to me in the commentary box, my name is Josh Mertz as we welcome you to Daytona Beach, Florida. Just a reminder, cameras all season on the Automotive Sports Network, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. Thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, for your continued camera support. Bryan Sawyer, last season we had GTP and GT3 in the same series. GTP has been removed. It is only GT3, and it is a brawl going off of last season's stats. So how are you, and what are your thoughts coming into tonight?
I have no idea what's happening, but I'm excited to be here, Josh. I know there's cars. I've raced these things like maybe 8 times in my life. I'm excited. I've always wanted to do them more, but I'm always afraid. I'm super stoked.
As taking a look to end practice, Logan Brink on top with a 1-minute 44.212, 2/10 up on Jay Smart, Dan Corretto, Nick Johnson, Brian Coxon, the top 5. Taking a look down through the order, we do not have Edgar Ruiz as our defending champion entering tonight. So we do have a drop week in OSRL, but so I would say the stage is open for anyone to take the opportunity, and with 37 cars on track, it is certainly going to be super exciting. A couple of programming notes before we roll into qualifying. Round 8 of the OSRL Cup Series at the Richmond Raceway in Virginia, the regular season finale. That's going to be next Tuesday, the 18th of June, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Victor Valley, Cody Urban, Ethan Halsey. You guys have been doing a wonderful job on Tuesdays, and I've been caught up in a couple of wrecks, whether they're my own doing or the rest of the field, but it's been super fun to race, and I may or may not end up racing the finale at Homestead, so you might not be hearing me in a couple of weeks on a Tuesday. the second round of the OSRL GT3 Series at the Sebring International Raceway in Florida. Next Thursday, the 20th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You'll have Bryan, Sawyer, myself, Josh Mertz, and I think Justin Robichaux. It's complete transparency. We're really good at our jobs, and we somehow scheduled him off today, and I don't know why. So hopefully he will return with us next Thursday. And the NASA Rallycross Challenge will restart in August. NASA Rallycross Futures, Lights, Contenders, and Supercars, 4 divisions restarting in August. All that info at nasasimracing.com. So we are going to roll into qualifying. It is a 3-lap session. And the times, 1 minute 44.2 for Logan Brink, all the way down to Aiden Covarrubia at a 1 minute 51.563. Looks like there's some pretty decent field spread here as we are about to begin qualifying. And you'll notice on the timing tower, with the different classes, Dan Corritto, for example, the blue is Pro, the red is the AM class. So still a multi-class, but with these cars having obviously the same speeds, 2 different classes of drivers, going to be interesting. We might see some classes intertwining here, Bryan.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see how people who are deemed the slower drivers deal with the fast guys and see some surprises, see who can keep up. Maybe see some class changes.
Hunter Terpstra, at least on my feed, first car on track in the 21 in the Lamborghini. Then we've got Alexander Alvarez in the new Ford Mustang GT3, followed by Jay Smart in another Lamborghini as we head down into the second horseshoe. Crucial to get the acceleration right off of this corner down to turn number 6. Then we enter the oval, and it is flat to the floor. You can't do anything more other than go through the gears, and when you're by yourself, just hug the yellow line just like you're in a stock car here at the World Center of Racing. Such a wonderful venue under the lights here in Daytona Beach, Florida. As Hunter Terpstra, like I said, first car on track. Jay Smart, Nick Johnson, Brian Coxon, Jose Gonzalez, the first 5 on track. So we will wait for laps to begin, Bryan.
I'm rooting for Hunter here.
Breaking down into the bus stop, 103 on Apex.
I like the Silverman car.
Running the banking to get the most momentum as we round turns 3 and 4. When NASCAR was here in 2020 and 2021, they had a chicane on the infield of the final corner here. It was interesting to see, and it's nice to see that the sports cars do not race that, as Terpstra will begin the first flying lap of the season, followed closely by Jay Smart. Remember, it's solo qualifying, 171 miles an hour at the breaking point, down to turn number 1, 67 at the apex, coasting through. Exiting turn 1 through the chicane. Let's ride on board the Lamborghini here, Bryan, and take a lap in Daytona. Through the bus stop, into turns 3 and 4 of the legendary oval. And we're going to see times begin to roll in. Terpstra first car, then it's Jay Smart, Nick Johnson, Brian Coxon, Jose Gonzalez. We'll take a look and see how the times will unravel. Terpstra under the yellow line. Not sure if OSRL Race Control is going to like that. Obviously, at the oval, it is illegal. Terpstra across the line, 1 minute 46.1. Smart, 1 minute 44.4. Nick Johnson, 44.5. Brian Coxon, 44.9. The times begin to roll in. Jacob Crass begins his run. Jose Gonzalez crosses the line, 46.7. Corey Allen, title contender from last season, 45.3. Stephen Kostcho won in Road America last season. He's beginning his first lap. Jack Clark crosses the line, 1 minute 46.0. Zachary Trevino, I think his lap is rendered invalidated, so a lot of the guys running through, crossing the line. Juan Chiricana, 1 minute 45.4. He goes to the 6th position. Jay Smart remains on top by 7/100ths of a second over Nick Johnson. But times, like I said, continuing to roll in as everyone finishing this first lap, Bryan.
Yeah, I could see a lot of people not setting lap times here tonight. At least in my case, I always struggle on turn 1. Every time I try and qualify
Logan
here,
Brink,
I invalidate it.
P1. 1 minute 44.396, 6/100ths faster than Jay Smart in the 31 to the 044. Got a couple of cars exiting the pit lane. JP DeFino in the 845. Zachary Trevino's on pit lane. I think he might have reset to the pit lane. There are a decent amount of cars, I do agree with you, that have not set lap times. Only 14 have clocked the time so far. A couple guys and girls are on lap times now, and a couple of them haven't even gotten on track. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. As we try to pick up Hunter Terpstra again. Actually, Jay Smart in the 044 crosses the line, 1 minute 44.1. He improves by 0.2 of a second to go P1. Guillermo Sequenza does not set a lap time. Terpstra had an issue on his second lap, 1 minute 46.122, and he's going to give up that third lap as well as he parked it in turn 1. Jacob Krask crosses the line in the 658. His lap does not count. It doesn't look like. Kostcho, 1 minute 45.9. Kostcho goes P10.
No, he does not. P10.
Jay Smart maintains that, and he gave up the third lap. So really, I don't know why these guys are only running the 2 laps and giving up the third one. Picking up Donnie Heineman in the 64, crosses the line, 1 minute 46.5. Stephen Ryan right behind him. That first lap did not count for the 36. A lot of cars still on pit lane. Nathan Branham crosses the line. That second lap does not count for him. And I'm telling you, I feel like maybe what the issue here is, it's very, very, very easy to run shallow or wide, either way, in the Le Mans chicane on the back straightaway. A tire a centimeter too far, you will get an off track, I should say, and that will invalidate the lap, Bryan.
Yeah, I'm thinking the big points of contention here tonight are going to be turn 1 with traffic and the exit of the chicane with traffic.
We saw last season, I can't remember who had the original mistake in the Le Mans chicane. I just remember that our bias for 2 seconds, NASA's very own Dan Carrito was doing very well, got caught up in an accident. I bring this up. The original point is you hit there's a bump. If you run too far driver's left on the exit of that chicane, you're going to hit the dirt, you're going to bump. It's going to send the rear all out of whack, and you're going to cross the track. We had some massive crashes last season, and it's very easy to do. Trying to pick up somebody on a lap. Corey Allen crosses the line on his third lap, 1 minute 45.4. He does not improve. Stephen Kostcho crosses the line on his second lap, 45.6. He does not improve. Rob Ferretti in the 722 on his third lap crosses the line, 44.6. He's half a second down on Jay Smart, the current pace setter. And 27 cars have clocked a lap so far. Matt Kingsbury goes on his final lap, the driver from Connecticut, 1 minute 44.4 for the 33.
Watching Vincent here. We're going to Nick Vincent here. We're going to see if he actually sets a lap time this time around. Did he?
Through the chicane, very wide. That's going to be a 1x. Logan Brink, P1 at a 1 minute 44.150. It's 3/100ths of a second. At the last time of asking, he takes the provisional pole from Jay Smart. So, Dan Carrito is on his second lap in the 320. Will we see an improvement from the man from New York? He ran it wide in the Le Mans chicane. He's going to have to pull to the inside. I think he might get a reset to take all the time he can. I'm just trying to find somebody on track. Nick Vincent, 1 minute 47.2. It looks like that lap, it did count for him, Bryan, as we took a look at Chris Wilkie as well in car number 3. And Wilkie 1 minute 45.457 for car number 3.
You know, I'm going to break the fourth wall here a little bit. I think they did a very good job at determining the Pro and Am classes. It's a pretty good split if you're looking at that ticker. There's
To
the
be
occasional.
perfectly, I'm very prepared. Is it based on iRating? Because I don't know.
Some of it is, some of it's not. It's based on historical races too. But I know they were stressing a little bit about where to place certain people, but it looks like they did pretty good.
As the battle for the Am pole, Josh Blum, Bryan Coxon, and Jacob Quill. It looks like that is about a 1/10 of a second there. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th overall. And then Koscho and Halsey, 11th and 12th. As the next Am driver actually is Alexander Alvarez in the car number 8 in 15th overall. Edgar Ruiz has made the session, so the defending champion in GT3 is in the session, Brian. So we'll see
That's
what
exciting.
he can do. So that increases the grid.
I had to move things around. I couldn't tell he joined.
If I'm doing this math correct, we now have 39 cars. So a couple cars joined in late, which is totally fine. As long as you're in qualifying and you join in, you still have a valid registration. Dan Carrito still waiting on track. We got just over 4 minutes left to go in qualifying. So these guys should be able to get one lap and call it done. Plenty of time to do so if they go now, at least. So we'll just wait and see. Carrito on pit lane. Halsey on pit lane. Christian Zarate in the 7s on track.
I think they just crossed the barrier of being able to finish all 3 laps. I think they're down to 2 now. If they go right now, it looks like Brianna is still sitting in pits, hasn't started. A bunch of other people haven't started either.
JP DeFino in 19th overall in the 845 is the highest car on track that is on a lap. So we'll see what the man from New York can do for Saints and Sinners Racing. Down the back straightaway in the newly released Chevrolet Corvette GT3 and the Ford Mustang GT3, and DeFino completely misses the braking spot there, loses the car. And let's try and go down the order, see if we have anybody. And Brian, there is nobody on track. I think we've got Logan Brink on pole position here in Daytona.
It's looking like it. We got a bunch of cars sitting in pits, but they're not going anywhere.
Logan Brink, Jay Smart on the front row, tentatively in the pro class. And then it is Josh Blum and Bryan Coxon, 8th and 9th overall, separated by 8/100ths of a second for the AM class pole position. And Edgar Ruiz made the session. I lied to you. He's trying to get on track in car number 80. Will he have enough time to get around and begin a lap? I believe, I could be wrong. No, I think he realized he's not going to have time. He's not going to have time, because if it's a solo qualifying, I think it just cuts you right to the race. So I think he realized that, and there's no point.
It's one thing I don't like about solo qualifying.
31st is where he'll
be able to finish your last lap. Like go out here and get a little feel of the car.
Open qualifying session, if you cross the line, it's like the real world. You're able to finish that lap. But if it is a solo qualifying session, it is 15 minutes and 15 minutes only. And then you are done and dusted for qualifying. So at least Edgar can take this 2 minutes, and it might be a warm-up lap. But Brian, this is the only practice, at least in this session and at this weather condition, that he's going to get. And having one lap of practice is better than none, of course.
Yeah, he's fast. He should be able to figure it out.
As I think he ran, this is a new car for the 80.
It is.
He ran the BMW last season, so he has shifted to the Ferrari from Germany to Italy. And a little squirrely there on the exit of turn 6. Braking for turn 7. Hit the curb, and I like brakes in these cars. Very squirrely under acceleration again. If I recall correctly, because I practiced in the McLaren for the 6 hours of Watkins Glen, there is traction control and anti-lock brakes on these cars. But still, it's a little demoralizing when you hit traction control in these GT3 cars, because it just kind of stops you in your tracks, obviously, and then you can't really recover from it. So, into the bus stop for Edgar Ruiz. And Corey Allen says the 24 hours of Yaptona and the Yaptona 500. I surely hope that you're not meeting us, and hopefully the driver's chat instead. As just hanging out with us on our little coffee chat before we begin gridding here in Daytona. I noticed that driver chat has been disabled and enabled, and that's it's been back and forth between the field. And Ruiz technically begins his first lap, and of course he won't be able to run it, but he'll at least be able to get the ever-crucial braking point to turn one. I agree with you. That's the most important bit on this track. You have to know where you're braking for turn one.
I never make it. I end up with 17x in turn one. Every race. Do you want to join a team with me?
I'm good. The last time I tried to run the 24 hours at Daytona, ran with my buddy Cody Erdman. We were practicing. We were set up for success. And then we got taken out, no joke, in lap 2 of turn 1 because some guy got angry because he hit me in the International Horseshoe and thought it was my fault. So
it's okay.
I digress.
I'll keep my record. I have one endurance race and one win.
I can tell that Jess Rakowski is going to make a short for this because there's 39 cars and I have not a lot of time to go over this. Logan Brink, Jay Smart, front row in the pro class. Dan Corretto, Matt Kingsbury, Nick Johnson, Rob Ferretti, Corey Allen, Josh Blum, pole position for the M class, Brian Coxon, Jacob Quill, Stephen Koscho, Ethan Halsey, Wanchi Rakenna, Chris Wilkie, Alexander Alvarez, Peter Hopp, Christian Zarati, Callie Height, JP DeFino, Jack Clark, Hunter Terpstra, Nathan Branham, Aaron Holroyd, Donnie Heineman, Jose Gonzalez, Jess Rakowski, Nick Vincent, Mike Hill, Stephen Ryan, Guillermo Ziguenza, Edgar Ruiz, Jared Kelly, Jeffrey Seymour, Zachary Trevino, Dennis Puckett, Brianna Lavin, Aiden Cobra Rubia, apologies there, and Jacob Krask, and David Buell rounding out the field. Hopefully that was less than 60 seconds so we can have a short video of that grid like there was in Watkins Glen. Edgar Ruiz and Guillermo Ziguenza were disqualified according to timing and scoring. Too much smack. But I think, yeah, that... Oh. We'll have to figure out why. Of course, we'll try and figure out why, but that means the defending champion is out. He is disconnected, Brian. And while there is a drop week...
That's interesting.
I don't know why.
I'm tempted to turn on driver audio to see if I can hear why. One of my favorite things to do when I'm just producing is listen to the driver audio. It gets real spicy half the time, but it's kind of hard to do while we're talking here and listen.
That's fair. That's fair. I've got mine enabled at least to see maybe if there's something that I can see. They have both disconnected from the session, so we will have 2 cars not a part of this, and a couple of cars not on the grid. Jacob Krask, Jeffrey Seymour, obviously Ruiz and Ziguenza, Nathan Branham, Peter Howe, Chris Wilkie, Jacob Quill, not on track. So we're just waiting a couple of more moments.
Does this league allow pit starts?
Not entirely sure. As we begin to roll here in Daytona. According to the graphic, it's 39 cars. I'd call it about 35 are on track and ready to go. We're missing 4, so it's 35. Getting ready to go for the 5th season of the OSRL GT3 Series. First time it's GT3 only, I do believe. And glad you can join us on the Automotive Sports Network. Logan Brink, Jay Smart on the front row of the grid in the overall and in the pro class, and it's Josh Blum and Brian Coxon in the M class, and we'll try and keep an eye, of course, on both of those classes all evening long.
I'm ready.
It was a brawl last season. Super fun. We had 9 different winners out of 11 races, and hopefully that trend continues. And be sure to join us all season long on Thursday nights for some GT3 action. 35 cars will contest 45 minutes. Thanks for joining us on ASN as we get ready to go green in Daytona Beach. Green flag. Logan Brink gets a decent jump, a huge jump over Jay Smart down to the first corner. A couple cars in the pit lane I saw down to the first corner. Logan Brink, Jay Smart side by side is Peretti versus, it was Nick Johnson. He got by him going through the field. Kosho, Wilkie, And some people are not very happy with not going 3 wide. A couple of cars made some contact in the back of the field into the International Horseshoe. 1 car wide. Donnie Heineman comes across into Aiden Covarrubias and Mike Hill. David Buell. 3 cars in the International Horseshoe. Jacob Krask is on track. Logan Brink, car length, maybe make it 2 ahead of Jay Smart. And they are arguing over the voice chat, so I'm going to go ahead and mute that on my end.
So I don't even turn it on.
I thought it was going to be a good idea to leave it unmuted to maybe get some tidbits into what's going on here already, but there's already arguments happening as Logan Brink half a second up on Jay Smart. And looking through timing, Aaron Hallroyd battling Jess Rakowski in the 999 and the 73. Rakowski tries it 3 wide. Jack Clark stuck in the middle. We've got BMW and 2 Corvettes into turns 1 and 2 of the oval here in Daytona Beach. And it looks like we've lost Nick Vincent in the 12. Not sure what happened there. I'll try and keep an eye at least to see what happened. Rob Ferretti has gone off in the Le Mans chicane, mowing the lawn on the inside. He's going to let all these cars by, as it's going to be obviously a track cut. A couple cars side by side. Carrito versus Johnson. At the end of the first lap, Logan Brink will lead Jay Smart in the 31 Corvette ahead of the 044 Lamborghini, and the field winding their way through. So much slipstream can be had on this front straightaway. There's so many different cars. A lot of these guys, I don't know what's happening with Alexander Alvarez, but he's giving up a huge amount of time. He got passed by Hunter Terpstra side by side. It was Callie Height versus Christian Zarate. That is for the 14th
still
spot.
Going on. Oh,
around goes Wanchi Rakenna in car number 2 in the Porsche. In the International Horseshoe, 1 car wide. It was Alvarez. We're 3 wide. This is Branham, Hallroyd, and Rakenna. Rakowski in the 999 as well for JC Simsport sneaking into the picture. Trevino and Brianna Lavin behind them if something goes wrong. Jared Kelly as well in the 055. And they have evened it out. Nick Johnson battling Josh Blum.
Trevino missing the front bumper. A lot of cars are missing the front bumper already.
Ethan Halsey trying to close in on Josh Blum in the 81. And Brian Coxon got by, and he is trying to take the fight to Corey Allen. So he's got a car buffer of Nick Johnson between him and Blum in the 81. Just Coxon in the 23 in that AM class lead. Dennis Puckett battling Stephen Ryan. Ryan has looped it, entering the oval, I should say. And he has gotten past by JP DeFino and lost some positions. The name of the game here is Slipstream. Up front, Jay Smart in the lead. I think Logan Brink made a mistake and we missed it, but it doesn't matter because here comes Matt Kingsbury like Talladega in the Cup Series on Tuesday, and Logan Brink takes the spot. I can tell you Matt Kingsbury, one of the most aggressive drivers in a GT3 car, but he thinks better of it into turn 1. Deep on the brakes is Brink, off the track, past the white lines. Kingsbury goes fastest of all. 3 cars under a blanket for the race lead early on in Daytona Beach. Brink on the outside on driver's right. Jay Smart in the 044. We're still side by side. Can Smart take the spot back? He does. Holds it from Brink ahead of Kingsbury. They're coming up on Peter Hopp in the 77 and Mike Hill in the 84. So we might run into lap traffic for these top 3. Dan Carrito waiting for something to happen. So is Corey Allen. Brian Coxon. So this top kind of 6. Pretty close here, Brian.
Dan Carrito's in the spot he likes from last season. Last season, I think he was in 3rd or 4th and won a race just waiting for stuff to happen.
I remember in Spa in Belgium, we had an issue with literally the top 4. Referencing that, Carrito was 4th or 5th, made it through that calamity, had a better pit strategy, and ended up winning the race.
Yeah.
So, updating our timing, we've got 34 cars on track. Nick Vincent, we lost him after the 2nd lap. Kingsbury, a huge run in the Mustang behind Logan Brink in the Corvette. Brink slides it through the Le Mans chicane. He was fully driving on the left rear, over-rotated, and loses the spot. So easy to do in these cars. Nick Vincent is disconnected. We've got 33 cars left on track.
It's a war of attrition.
So, Jay Smart leads Matt Kingsbury And Kingsbury driving for Kuoka Racing. That's a new team for him, as for years he was racing with his brother Ray on Last Lap Motorsports. He ran for Dirt Esport, his own team. So Matt Kingsbury making a shift to a new team, and he is closing in on Jay Smart in the 044. Taking a look still at the AM lead, Bryan Coxon has now, something happened to Josh Blum, and I missed it, apologies there, but Blum has dropped several positions, Brian. There are 4 cars between Coxon and Blum for the AM lead here.
I don't think anything happened. I just think it's some of the pro drivers just qualifying out of place, just holding consistently better times. I never saw anything pop up on the screen that he had an issue or anything.
Half a second is the interval. Taking a look through the field, we've got Dan Carrito, Corey Allen, Bryan Coxon. Those guys are within a second of each other. This is for 4th through 6th overall. Josh Blum is a second off of Steven Koscho, the winner from Road America last season. We have lost Aiden Covarrubia in the 6th, so that again leaves 33 cars on track as we are about 7 minutes in here in Daytona Beach. Gap is half a second to the race lead. 1.3 back to Logan Brink, another half second to Carrito, a second back to Corey Allen, half second, call it 6, 3/4 of a second actually, to Bryan Coxon. Jay Smart comes over voice chat. He got a slowdown, Brian, the race leader through the Le Mans chicane. Looks Kingsbury to the lead. That's going to put Jay Smart back to 3rd, to 4th, maybe 5th. As Corey Allen, huge run, and the race leader, big mistake.
Yep. Oh, that's
he might even lose it. He might even lose the spot to Bryan Coxon. Coxon has the momentum, so put Kingsbury to the race lead.
That's the worst place to get it along the entire backstretch. That's all your speed for the whole lap.
So, Nathan Branham and Alexander Alvarez. This is for 16th overall.
Who just spun? Was that
one car around? It's Jay Smart
in
the
Jay
044, and he pulls out in front of Ethan Halsey. He's parked in the International Horseshoe. He gets back going now, but it goes from bad to worse. We can take the 044 out of it.
It's a collective 15 seconds lost from the lead.
It's so tricky when you have a mistake like that to regain your focus. Matt Kingsbury has spun in turn 7. He loses the lead. Taking a look off monitor, he hit the curb, he had hit the bumps, lost it, and Logan Brink to the lead. And what did you say about Dan Carrito in the best spot? He's now in second, 6/10 off the lead.
He's just hanging out where he likes. I'm not great at road. That's kind of what I do. I just sit in the back and just go, hopefully these guys crash. Maybe I'll get a few spots.
As Brink's going to get a slowdown on that. He was way far off the curb.
Carrito just got one too.
There's no way that they both didn't get a slowdown. They didn't. They didn't. Either one of them didn't get a slowdown. That was interesting. Callie Height has gotten a slowdown in the 33.
Jay Smart just got another black flag. He is way back there.
It is raining and pouring and lightninging and thundering, even if that's not a word. Lightninging. Words are hard.
But hey, he got bonus points for pole.
Halsey drafting his teammate down the front straightaway into turn number 1. They are battling for the 9th spot overall. We've got Matt Kingsbury now battling Josh Blum, and Kingsbury loops it again in turn 1. And Kingsbury back, trying to get back on track. He's got the field to go by. And he will get back on track now.
Yeah, once these tires get hot, don't you need to let them cool down for a couple laps?
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're not going to have any.
You're just going to keep doing that? Yeah.
So I want to focus our attention while there's so much going on. Corey Allen is 4/10 up on Bryan Coxon for the podium overall. The AM leader might be sneaking onto a tentative podium. Of course, we are super early here in Daytona. Just about 10 minutes in to this first round. Logan Brink flashing Jacob Crass, trying to tell him to get out of the way as the race leaders begin to lap traffic. As Corvette versus Corvette. Crass trying to pick a lane. Carrito, his teammate, says, where are you going here? And now Corey Allen will run into him on the banking, it looks like, in 3 and 4.
I am taking a second. sorry. And add more light sources to iRacing. I forgot it was a night race.
As Johnson, Koscho, Josh Blum, Chris Wilkie, Ethan Halsey. Halsey's going to draft his teammate down to the first corner again. We have lost Jared Kelly. I'm taking a look off monitor to see what has happened to him. And it looks like one car came across. It was Alex Alvarez. And Jared Kelly just fell out of the server. So the equivalent of tech issues or mechanical failure. And we've got the EHM teammates bump drafting down to turn 1, Bryan.
That's so cool looking. With their paint jobs together, they're simple, clean, looks great. It's like 2 fighter jets going.
As Ferretti, Height, Zarate, J Smart down in 13th for the pole sitter. Rakowski, Terpstra, Branham, Rakenna, Kingsbury. Just trying to take a look through the field. One car that doesn't have a front bumper is Dennis Puckett, and he hasn't pitted yet, which is interesting. I'm not really sure the logic on that one. We've got one car in the pit lane, Alex Alvarez. Jared Kelly has fallen from the server, so we have lost him for the moment. And the field winds their way. Gap is 1 second from Brink to Corrido. It is a further 3.2 seconds to Brian Coxon as he got by Corey Allen for that third spot.
I was gonna say, if Puckett was close enough to DeFino there, I would hold off on pitting if you're getting some draft. But he's losing space. I'd go.
And Corey Allen had the third spot. He got a slowdown in the Le Mans chicane the last time around. That slowdown killed him, made him lose all of that time. So he goes back to the 4th position. The teammates are going to try this for a third time. This is the closest battle that we have currently. They are side by side through turns 3 and 4. We've got that Rob Ferretti in the Porsche. Behind the 2 BMWs, Chris Wilkie lets his teammate through in the BMWs. Dare I say it, they're going to be doing this drafting to conserve fuel.
I was going to say, are they leapfrogging or actually racing? Because if I were them, I'd be leapfrogging and trying to just get space and equally conserve fuel.
Lap times have changed. 1 minute 45.9 for Halsey, 46.1 for Chris Wilkie. But Callie Height looks to the inside of Christian Zarat. Height spins in front of Zarat in the 35. As she gets back going again in the Corvette. As Jack Clark just taking a look through the field. Favorite catchphrase here with OSRL. As he spun in sympathy as Zachary Trevino spun exiting the bus stop. We had 2 cars having an issue. Trevino has disconnected. So we've lost 5 cars in the opening 10-ish minutes here, Bryan. Attrition becoming plenty.
We're getting a nice battle here between Zarate and Smart. They're after Height spun, Zarate got by her and Smart, and it's they almost took each other out immediately, but they're doing pretty good. They get gaps building a little bit.
Down the back straightaway, Josh Blum in the 7th spot overall. Alex Alvarez let him through. Halsey to the inside in the 61. Can't make anything happen. And Alvarez off the road in the 8. I think he's going to get a slowdown through there. He didn't, but Halsey did. And Halsey's going to get passed by his teammate Wilkie and by Ferretti.
And it looked like Wilkie got Blum got the bigger cut.
That's what was interesting to me, but no cut for Blum.
Stewart's not liking Halsey tonight.
Looking the inside of Alvarez is Wilkie. This is not a spot for position. Alvarez goes the wrong direction. Track goes the other way, my friend. And we've still got 3 cars under a blanket with Wilkie, Ferretti, and Halsey. Halsey had that slowdown. He was not affected. We've got side-by-side between Kingsbury and Holroyd. This is for the 19th spot overall. And Holroyd was drafting Corvette versus Ford down to turn number 1. And it looks like Kingsbury will hold that position. Back to Wilkie, Ferretti, Halsey, 8th, 9th, 10th overall. Right ahead of them is Steven Koscho versus Josh Blum. And that is a close battle as well, Bryan. As 15 minutes down here in Daytona Beach. And the battles, certain places pretty spicy. Otherwise, it's pretty calm.
It's getting nice. We can actually find the battles now. The first few laps are always just everything's red. I sit here and I go, I don't know what to click on.
You just gotta listen to me somehow blabber my way through this, is what I've always told anyone who likes to push buttons for ASN. So it's an easy yet very difficult job. I don't envy what you do, and I appreciate all the work you have done.
Who's off track there?
Koscho in the 37. I'll roll it back real quick and take a look. Committed to the first bit of the bus stop. He clipped the curb and it over-rotated, and as soon as you clip that curb, yeah, it committed him, and he is losing spots hand over
He just lost 3.
Pro to the end, or sorry, Halsey in the pro class inside of Ferretti. Ferretti had to slow down in the 722, so the Porsche now gets bitten by the stewards. Nick Johnson, 0.3 of a second off of Corey Allen. Something had to have gone wrong for Corey Allen in the 75.
Yeah, Coxon was on podium.
As Coxon's had that spot, but Nick Johnson has closed on Corey Allen. I think Corey Allen might have gotten a slowdown at one point through the bus stop in the 75. He is 1.1 seconds behind Bryan Coxon to the inside. Johnson on Allen. They do not touch. Respectful racing and put Johnson up to the 4th spot.
That took some guts.
Very far back.
That's a level of commitment I would not be comfortable with.
Very far back in the 717, and he made hit stick. So, I think we might step aside a little bit early just so we don't avoid pit stops. So we've got Logan Brink out front in the pro class, Bryan Coxon out front in the AM class, and on the overall podium. So we're going to go side by side here in Daytona. Stick around.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous with your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to NordVPN.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Absolutely be doing what he has to do. He has to go for the championship. He has to recover the points that he lost. He's down the race, takes the lead in the 12. What a move. And he takes the lead and holds it.
Side between these two and turn one. This is going to get spicy.
Exiting turn one, over the jump to begin the first lap, clog at the inside line. McFarland contact between them. They are still side by side. This opens the door for Wetz. He can't make anything happen. Over in the 26, he has not won in quite some time. Dragster acing the entry to turn one, up Betty to the inside. And Magnus gives him a nudge. The grip strip on the inside, Phil. Wetz had a little bit better run, but looks like Rocky's going to hold the spot.
You're so interesting.
I love
We welcome you back to the first round of Season 5 of the OSRL GT3 Series from the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida, with Bryan Sawyer next to me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz, live on the Automotive Sports Network. We've got a couple of things that have kicked off during our commercial break. I mentioned to you, Bryan Sawyer, that Nick Johnson was beginning the pit strategy. He absolutely was not beginning the pit strategy. He crashed with Corey Allen going into turn one. Allen had a very interesting line into the first corner, and it shoved Johnson into the pit wall on corner exit. Then we had a huge crash. It was between Hunter Terpstra, Nathan Branham. They came together at the start-finish line. One car thought he was clear, the other car was not clear, and we've got calamity all over. As just a reminder, the cameras for tonight's broadcast and all season brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. Thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, for your camera support. And if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And ring the bell to be notified of our live streams on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, along with our short-form video content courtesy of Jess Rakowski. So,
I might be
Bryan,
able to pull that. I might be able to pull you a replay of that crash on the front stretch if you want. We can try.
you can go ahead. We can try
Let's try
it. We
it.
are
Let's see what happens.
running with a little bit obviously lesser crew. We're supposed to have Justin Robichaud. I think it never happened. Our replay graphics broken. So if we just want to roll this back at this point, that's Branham in the Porsche. He is behind. I think that was Terpstra. And they are drafting. Terpstra's on the outside and thinking he's clear, like it's a super speedway. Absolutely not clear. Hooked into the wall. And both of them out. Not out completely, but certainly obviously down the order.
Yeah, I think they're both back on track racing. I think they're okay there.
Logan Brink leads by 2.7 seconds over Dan Corretto. Brian Coxon a further 5 seconds back. Stephen Koscho, Chris Wilkie in the top 5 as the pit strategy begins. And we have 7 cars off the track. Alexander Alvarez, Zachary Trevino, Jared Kelly. Power went out for Jared Kelly, so hopefully everything is all well with you, my friend. Jacob Krask, Mike Hill, Nick Vincent, and Aiden Covarubia. As are we seeing pit strategy from the leaders yet? We are Corretto pits. And Logan Brink has pitted. So the top 2 are pitting. This puts Brian Coxon into the lead. As Corretto into the pit lane. And where is Brink into the pit lane? And are we going to see either one of these cars beat the other off the pit lane? Looks like that's Corey Allen. No, it's not. I apologize there. Jess Rakowski in the 999. Logan Brink exits the pit lane. So he will continue to lead from Dan Corretto. And what's interesting and what's different from years past is I think years ago, and I could be off base here, you could be off the limiter as soon as you exited the pit lane, but now you have to stay all the way where the green cones are through the access road.
Yep.
Just avoid some incidents here at Daytona. Real quick, Nick Johnson, Stephen Ryan. This is for 25th overall, and Nick Johnson was 4th overall before that incident. Rob Ferretti is 3/4 of a second down on Steven Costco. And Nick Johnson about to be lapped by the cars that he was battling a couple of moments ago. Couple programming notes as the field rolls through pit stops. Round 8 of the OSRL Cup Series at the Richmond Raceway in Virginia, the regular season finale, and Dylan Clark has been on a tear all season so far. I told him in the OSRL Discord I was afraid to hit you because you're the points leader. I don't want to do that to you. Coverage will be next Tuesday, the 18th of June, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Victor Valley, Cody Erdman, and Ethan Halsey on the call for that. And the second round of the OSRL GT3 Series, the Sebring International Raceway in Florida, next Thursday, the 20th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Bryan Sawyer, myself, Josh Mertz. Hopefully Justin Rova show for that. Like I said, we miscommunicated on the cruise, and we are down a man tonight. And reminder that the NASA Rallycross Challenge will return in August. All the info is at nasasimracing.com. Brian Coxon pits. We have Costco pitting, Ferretti pitting, so the top 3. Blum pits, so the top 4 will pit. So we'll comfortably put Logan Brink back to the race lead, Brian.
Yeah, Logan Brink's coming around turn 3 right now, followed by Coretta, so they both should come out right ahead of him. Looks looking like everybody's getting about a 50-second pit stop, so they're going to have some decent margin.
So Brink back to the lead, 2.6 seconds ahead of Corritto. He comes out comfortably ahead of Coxon.
Yeah, Coxon's just exiting now. He can get on the gas now, but
Corey Allen, 6.5 seconds behind Coxon in the 23. And let's take a look and see. And Brian says, if he's not muted now, that he didn't have the ticker up. That's okay, my friend. We're both rusty.
I said you could publicly shame me. It's okay. I didn't know.
It is all okay. We are all scrambled up here on ASN. Thanks for joining us for the first round of the OSRL GT3 Series. About halfway through, over halfway, I should say, here in Daytona, and it has been interesting to say the least. With 28 cars left,
we're looking at about 10 laps left. Let's keep going back, looking at turn 1, watching all these people run wide and get slowdowns.
Rob Ferretti is 0.6 of a second down on Ethan Halsey. And the Christmas tree, we've got Jose Gonzalez blocking Stephen Ryan going into turn 1. Nick Johnson right ahead of them. And we've lost, I apologize there, Mike Hill disconnected a while ago. So Johnson, Gonzalez, Donnie Heineman, Stephen Ryan. This might be the closest battle with Gonzalez versus Ryan. Halsey and Ferretti, I stand corrected. So Halsey's going to get in the slipstream of the 722 is the 61. And the man that calls our races on Tuesday trades the headset for the steering wheel, much like I do on Tuesdays. And he's running well in the 61 in the BMW.
You got to share a helmet?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No disrespect.
Just trade them back and forth.
I just like to, just have my own stuff. So, Ferretti ahead of Halsey, 0.4 of a second. And Bryan, everyone's pretty much kind of running their own races. It looks like the pit strategy was pretty varied there.
Yeah, I'm getting, I see two relatively close races on my timing, the Halsey versus Ferretti, and I got Gonzalez versus Ryan in the backfield. But that's it for right now. That's almost over a second gap.
I tell you what, let's take a lap. Let's ride on board our race leader, Logan Brink. He is setting the pace. His last lap was a 1 minute 44.8. Let's ride on board the Corvette here in Daytona.
Oh. Don't blink for Logan. I'm trying to watch you.
Closest battle we have, Brianna Lavin versus Jack Clark. 0.3 of a second. That is for 18th overall. Apologies that we don't have the exact position for classes. Lavin's going to get slowed down.
Look what you just did.
Yep. And car number 10 does get a slowdown, so she will have to give up a numerous amounts of time.
No.
So does Jack Clark. Commentator's
Jack
curse.
Clark just hit the wall. I was going to say, ignore the slowdown. Jack Clark just spun around and hit the wall.
He was pushing so hard, asked too much of the rear tires, and looped it into the tires. Contact between Callie Height and Wanchi Rakenna on the front straightaway. What was that? Rakenna went under the yellow line, came back up, did not have... What? Callie Height just... She just turned left?
We're going back for that one.
Let's go ahead and roll this back. It's totally fine.
I got the real replay
Hey, the
button
graphics
now.
fixed.
I fixed it.
Watch this. I don't know what happened, but keep it on this camera and just roll it. I'll keep an eye on monitor for anything. Rakenna goes to the inside. Height just turns left and hooks him, just like Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin in Charlotte. And I don't know what to really call that, Brian.
Retaliation for something earlier? I don't know.
Wanchi Rakenna, all he said was thanks as a quick chat in text chat. So,
those ones sting the most.
Jay Smart closing on Chris Wilkie. This is for 9th overall. I'll tell you what, Jay Smart has had a pretty decent recovery, the pole sitter, after having that slow down and then spinning in turn 1. Deep on the brakes in the 0-40-40. He makes it stick on the 3. Maybe I spoke too soon. Little
don't do
squirrely
that.
under acceleration.
That's terrifying.
Takes the spot. Holds it. Wilkie to the inside! And Jay Smart, where are you going?
Did he get anything for that?
It would probably be a 1X, if anything. It definitely wouldn't be a slowdown. Callie Height has a meatball flag, black flag with an orange disc. She is still... Well, that's Jose Gonzalez. So I think she's trying to get back to the pit lane. Gonzalez misses the braking point on the bus stop. And so does Callie Height. In front of Donnie Heineman. What is happening on the back straightaway?
What is she doing? She just watched her drive across the grass there.
So, Christian Zarat is 0.6 of a second behind.
I don't know if
Matt
we're going to see
Kingsbury.
retaliation back here.
Well, Donnie Heineman, so Gonzalez, Jose Gonzalez, that's not the car that was involved.
Okay.
Callie Height was pit.
She's going to the now.
Let's get a reset of what in the world is happening. Wanchi
I just
Rakenna's
saw
in the
her
pit
going
lane.
across the grass again.
Well, they're both in the pit lane, Rakenna and Height, so maybe we'll see some retaliation. We'll have to see, of course. Chris Wilkie's 0.3 of a second. We call it 5 now. It's gaining from him to Jay Smart. Jay Smart holds the 9th spot. We are running, the 20th lap here in Daytona. Just under 11 minutes left. And Callie Height uses her fast repair and gets back on track. And the car that is right in front of her is Wanchi Rakenna in car number 2. So I'll try and keep an eye on that. Getting a little interesting here in the closing minutes, Brian.
Yeah, we got a lot more red this time. We had a lot of close battles.
Chris Wilkie, second away from Jay Smart. Closest battle looks like right now it's Lavin versus Terpstra in the 10 versus the 21.
Terpstra gets best car of the night.
Wonderful livery.
Well, when I was a kid, my mom hand sewed me a red M&M Halloween costume. It was pretty cool. My sister was the yellow M&M.
Welcome to the ASN Coffee Chat, where we talk about Halloween costumes with not much to talk about. That'll be awesome. Brianna Lavin looking to the outside on the Lamborghini in the Porsche. Down to turn number 1. Rob Ferretti just under a second. That has been fluttering around a second for the 5th spot overall. Him and Steven Kostcho. And Height is behind now Corey Allen. So I don't think there's going to be any retaliation from McKenna to Callie Height. So closest battle again, Terpstra versus Lavin. Lavin flashing the lights in the Porsche. Hey, I'm here. What are you going to do? Force him into a mistake, potentially.
Flash me. What am I going to do? I'm going to hit the brakes.
At least I know what not to do with him behind you in a multi-class race. If the Beetle light had lights, I would do that all the time, but I would make sure that I'm either inside or outside before I did it. So, next closest battle is Costco to Ferretti. That's half a second. Ferretti was half a second up on Costco that last time around. And Costco struggling in the Ford compared to the Porsche here, Brian.
Is that the new Ford? That's the new Ford, right?
That is. The new Ford Mustang and the Corvette made their debuts this season. There's a lot of new content here on iRacing.
Will not miss the old Ford.
Lamborghini versus Porsche again through the bus stop. It's 0.2 of a second. I expect Lavin, if we want to take a look, 16th overall. I expect Lavin to be able to take this spot. This is going to be for position here. This is not for a podium spot in AM, I don't think. And Lavin certainly has plenty of drafting practice after the Cup Series race in Talladega. Looking to the outside. Terpstra tries to get the better run. Will Lavin go deep on the brake? She does. Makes it stick.
Holds it.
Let's take a look at Costco versus Ferretti. Exiting turn 2 of the oval. They're still side by side. Lavin clears him. Down the back straightaway to the Le Mans chicane. Who will budge? Ford versus Porsche. Ferretti takes the spot. Costco's going to have the better run through the bus stop, but I don't think he's going to contest it too much. And then Blum versus Smart. Jay Smart tearing his way through the field, trying to get back to 8th overall. Seven and a quarter minutes left to go in Daytona. So Costco's going to get the slipstream back on Ferretti. It's not going to be this time around to get to the top 5. It probably will be the next time on the oval. I'd call it into the Le Mans chicane for Costco will be his next best opportunity. And I'll tell you what, our main man Ethan Halsey running very well, quietly in 7th, and he's potentially sneaking his way into a top 5 here, Brian.
Yeah, where's his teammate? They were drafting the whole first half of the race. I wonder if...
Chris Wilkie, 10th overall.
Okay, they separated a little bit, so... I say maybe their strategy's paying off, but they spread out a bit.
As Costco was a second slower than Ferretti that last time around. I think Costco, without the tire information in front of me, I think he might have cooked his tires at some point in this race. We're not missing anything up front. Logan Brink is leading in the Pro Class. Brian Coxon leading in AM comfortably. Brink by 4 seconds over Corritto. And Coxon, it is a long way back to Josh Blum. It is, let me do quick math, that is 22 seconds from Coxon to Blum in the M class. I think our best battle here, Brian, is going to be Ferretti, Costco, and Halsey. Yep. Next closest battle, Lavin and Terpstra still. These two still battling. But 5th, 6th, and 7th overall would be the Porsche, the Ford, and the BMW. So a German sandwich with an American in the middle. Ford versus 2 German manufacturers as we enter the front straightaway to begin their 23rd lap here in Daytona.
If I'm looking at this correctly right now, I'm looking at Logan Brink, starting pole, currently has the fastest lap, currently in first place. That's one hell of a night for him. That's 76 points. That is almost 9 points on second place overall, getting all the bonus points for the night. That is an excellent night of racing.
Let's try and take a look at Terpstra versus Lavin. Terpstra trying to find a way around the Porsche is the Lamborghini. Into the Le Mans chicane. Very conservative under braking. I would say I would have stayed further in the slipstream. I wouldn't have tried it in the Le Mans chicane. You really can't make a pass into the Le Mans chicane unless you've got big cojones. I will tell you that right now. Very hard to do unless you are basically side by side with them. Jay Smart off monitor ran 2 into the dirt. He is pushing hard to try and catch Ethan Halsey here in the 61. As we still look at Terpstra, with Lavin. Terpstra drafting, looking to the inside. This is for 16th overall. And Terpstra can't make it happen. Into turn 1. They begin their 23rd lap. I'd say the battle from Ferretti and Costco, that's another close battle. The battle with Halsey. Halsey's tailed off on this. We've got another battle forming. David Buell versus Jack Clark. So just under 4 minutes left to go in Daytona Beach. According to timing, 3 laps to go here at the World Center of Racing. Thanks for joining us on the Automotive Sports Network all evening long as we are about to end this first race. Lavin off the track as we still try and take a look at the battle for 16th. Lavin pushing hard, trying to maintain this. Costco half a second on Ferretti. They were equal on lap times the last time around. Halsey sneaking into the picture as well. Very hard to keep an eye on what battle to look at. It's 3/4 of a second for Lavin to Terpstra, so we will not go back to that. We'll keep an eye on this, Brian.
I gotta teach you how to do split screen with me, buddy.
I think we'll try and get Justin back before that happens. 10 years ago, I had one of my buddies say that you have horrible ADHD with your camera work. Just go back and look at a NASA show from then. There's a reason why I don't handle cameras anymore. It's really bad. My infamous keyboard clicking, which I still apologize for, there's a reason why I flick through the field at any given moment. So these 3 cars are within a second and a half. Ferretti, Costco, and Halsey. Let's go back to Terpstra and Lavin. Terpstra on the outside into turn number 1. He made the move. Will he get the braking into turn number 1? Trying to do the over-under on Lavin. Lavin takes the spot. And that battle was way back into the bus stop, but I think that Terpstra just should have, again, stayed in the slipstream for as long as he could. As it looks like Dennis Puckett has spun exiting the bus stop in the 70.
Should have held it a little bit longer. Might have had the spot.
And he is back going in the Ford Mustang in the 70. And the battle has fizzled out here for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
We're down to 2 minutes remaining.
Logan Brink has taken the penultimate lap, I should say. White flag coming next time for the 31.
He's got a 4-second lead. And just keep on trucking. He'll be fine. Halsey's caning.
Halsey 1.8 seconds behind Costco. Just under a second from Ferretti to Costco for the 5th position. And the battle that keeps on giving, Brianna Lavin and Hunter Terpstra. And arguably, Terpstra shouldn't even be in this scenario after the incident they had. It ran it wide. They are going very wide on the exit of the bus stop, and they both got a slowdown. Lavin and Terpstra did.
Oh, boy.
So I think it is both cleared. No, it's not cleared. They still have them. Terpstra's cleared his. Lavin still has to clear hers. This could get interesting. Lavin's is clear.
Okay, Lavin's is clear. I was going to say, you can only hold on to that so long, or else they grow real big.
Logan Brink off the final corner will take the white flag. Just over 30 seconds. He's going to hit the white flag with 30 on the dot. 30 seconds left. This will be the white flag for Logan Brink in car number 31. And Nick Johnson has joined the party for 16th with the slowdowns from Lavin to Terpstra. So, quick update. Jay Smart has caught Ethan Halsey in the 61. This is for 7th overall. And the man who was leading the race early on had an issue. He looks to the outside of Halsey in the 61 and the 044. Lamborghini versus BMW. Italy versus Germany. Halsey squirrely on corner entry. He's going to lose the spot. So, no, I thought he was. Smart over-rotated. Lavin has gotten passed by Johnson. I think she made a mistake entering the oval. Nick Johnson gaining down the back straightaway. This is for 16th overall. And he takes the side-by-side into the Le Mans chicane. He takes it. So Nick Johnson recovering from the issues that he had with Corey Allen earlier in the race.
Looks like Brink is on the back stretch right now, so...
Into the Le Mans chicane for the final time is our race leader, Logan Brink. Pole position, fastest lap. It was a duel earlier on between him and Jay Smart. Smart had a slowdown, spun in turn 1. It went from bad to worse. It rains, it pours for the 044. It's going to continue a streak. If you count last season, this will make 10 winners out of 12 races. Flashing the lights. No GTP in this race. GT3 all the way. And Logan Brink in the first Pro-Am split will win in Daytona Beach 5 seconds ahead of Dan Corritto in car number 320. And close behind, as apologies there, it's Stephen Ryan. I'm good at my job. Bryan Coxon comes across the line to win in the AM class and on the overall podium in car number 23.
Going back to Halsey here, going up to Smart.
Halsey gaining on Smart. I don't think he'll have enough time. Allen comes home 4th. Peretti 5th. Costco 6th. Smart will come home in 7th by the slimmest of margins by a car length. Unless, did Halsey get him at the line? He did not.
No.
Timing was just broken. Timing was broken for a minute. And I promise their names are not Pro and Am. Our timing's just broken. Welcome to ASN.
Josh had an idea earlier.
Yeah, you can roast me. It's fine. You can totally roast me. It's okay.
Josh had a great idea. It didn't work out great.
You know, I try to do things, and I think that it would work, and it doesn't work. But
you should have. It was just a weird bug.
So I'm going to ask you publicly, are we ready for interviews? Because I think we can just have our quick chat with Bryan Coxon as we wait for Logan Brink to join.
We might. If you want to go over full results, we can.
Yeah, let's take a look. The unofficial classification for the race. Oh, my God. Some of the last names are Pro and Oh, let me just read it off.
To yourself.
I don't know what's going to happen. Logan Brink wins overall. Dan Corritto, Bryan Coxon wins in AM. Corey Allen. I can't even read that screen. It's freaking me out. Corey Allen, Stephen Costco, Jay Smart, Ethan Halsey, Josh Blum, Chris Wilkie, Matt Kingsbury, Christian Zarate. Oh, it's kind of fixed. Jess Rakowski comes home in 12th. Aaron Hallroyd, Rob Ferretti, JP DeFino, Nick Johnson, Hunter Terpstra, Brian 11, Stephen Ryan, Jose Gonzalez, Callie Height, Jack Clark, Dennis Puckett, David Buell, Nathan Branham, Donnie Heineman, Juan Chiriquena, Peter Hopp, Alexander Alvarez, Zach Trevino, Jared Kelly, Jacob Krask, Mike Hill, Nick Vincent, Aiden Covarubia, Jacob Quill, Guillermo Sequenza, Edgar Ruiz, and Jeffrey Seymour. Remember, we had a couple of disqualifications before the race even began. So we're going to shift to interviews fairly quickly. So just let me know. I'll ask publicly when I'm good to unmute on Discord.
It should be good.
And we'll bring in our overall. I can't move him. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. We'll figure it out.
Who do you need?
I cannot move our interviewees. I need Bryan Coxon. Bryan Coxon in the... Bryan, it's Josh in the ASM booth. You got us?
Yeah.
I've got one question for you because it was such a crazy race. I guess, how was your race? Walk me through it. And an overall podium for you, my friend.
Yeah, pretty happy with that. Kind of chaotic. I think I qualified 9th. I remember it. Yeah, qualified 9th. And then kind of from there is surprisingly tame because everyone just seemed to everyone in front of me either seemed to spin or get a slowdown in the bus stop. Quite a few people were getting slowdowns, and I think I got a position or two off of that. And then a couple people spun up front. And yeah, that ended up getting me a few positions up to about 4th or 3rd, and then kind of just free running from there, I think.
So we talked Bryan, myself, we talked earlier in the show. It seems like the trouble spots were turn 1 and the bus stop. I wonder if you would agreed on that.
Probably. I had one pretty bad moment in turn 1 where I nearly spun. Then I also had one coming onto the oval in like turn 6. Bus stop wasn't too much of an issue, but I was dealing with a lot of understeer there, so I felt slow through there most of the race. But it looking at my relative, it wasn't too bad, so who knows.
All right, my friend, you had a great run tonight. Anyone you'd like to thank for the overall podium and the win in the AM class tonight?
No one I can think of. I'll thank Aaron Holroyd, another one of the AM drivers, for making the livery. Very good livery, so I can thank him for that. I guess I'll shout out one of my roommates, Shay McNeely, for getting me into sim racing about 2 years ago as well. Why not?
Alrighty, my friend. Good run, and we'll see you in Sebring.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
As Bryan, I can't move people in or out of here, so you'll have to move
I
them
guess
out.
I'm doing a thing.
And you'll have to get me Logan Brink. Logan Brink, it's Josh in the commentary box. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
I just asked Bryan, basically walk me through your race. How crazy was it with the overall win? It looks like you had a good battle with Jay Smart there earlier on, but yeah, walk me through your race.
Well, I think the real challenge was keeping the tires cool because it got really tight at the end. But Dan was keeping with me. He was pretty quick today. He's keeping me honest. But at the start of the race, I lost. I think I dropped a third, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna sit back and keep the car on the track and just keep it steady. And eventually, the two guys in front of me had problems, so got in front of them and just cruised as stable as I could, trying to keep the tires cool and get my pit stop done and good, and we were pretty good.
As I kind of mentioned, asked Bryan, it seemed like turn 1 and the bus stop were some trouble zones tonight, but he also mentioned turn 6. So I wanted to hear your opinion on those 3 places on this track with these cars.
Yeah, the problem is all those turns, you got to turn and brake at the same time. The ABS doesn't like that, so you kind of got to fiddle with the brakes a little bit. But once it's tough, but some people have more downforce than other people, so they can brake better, and there was some confusion there going on. But I felt pretty good in those corners. Did a lot of practice for this race to make sure I could get in and out of those corners nice. But yeah.
Well, the practice obviously certainly prevailed, my friend. Anyone you'd like to thank for the P1 result tonight?
I'd like to thank George Racing Association for the ride today, and just all my teammates who showed up. Some of them didn't finish, unfortunately, but yeah, it was a fun race for our team, and hopefully we keep this going.
All right, my friend. Good run, and we'll see you next week in Sebring.
All right, thank you, guys.
So that was eventful, Bryan Sawyer. And while, according to the timing screens, we only had 1 or 2 battles pop up, certainly interesting with the certain issues that a couple drivers have had and the incidents that somehow occurred. But here we are. So give me a final thought, and I'll button this one up.
Final thought, that was as exciting as I thought it was going to be. We had some nice nice crashes there. No huge ones, so that was actually pretty good. Some nice tight battles. Pretty good overall. I enjoyed it. Still keep me away from these cars. I should not be in them.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get Justin back for next week. Because Bryan says before we went on air, I don't know these cars, I don't know this track. I said exquisite. Welcome to ASN. We're gonna figure it out. Just a couple programming notes before we say goodnight on the Automotive Sports Network. We have round 8, the regular season finale of the OSRL Cup Series before we go into the playoffs. That is at the Richmond Raceway in Virginia next Tuesday, June 18th. 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Victor Valley, Cody Erdman, Ethan Halsey for that. Like I mentioned earlier, you guys have been killing it on Tuesdays, and hopefully I have some good luck after a couple weeks of some issues. The OSRL GT3 Series Round 2 in Sebring, that is next Thursday, the 20th of June, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Bryan Sawyer, myself, Josh Mertz for that. Hopefully Justin Robichaux, as we're really good at scheduling, so he has had the night off tonight. And the NASA Rallycross Challenge will restart for the 2024 B season in August with NASA Rallycross Futures, Lights, Contenders, and Supercars. Major changes happening to NASA Rallycross, nasasimracing.com for any and all information there. If you like what you saw tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and ring the bell to be notified of our live streams on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, along with our short-form video content courtesy of Jess Rakowski. Just a reminder, cameras all season on ASN tonight, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. As the checkered flag has fallen on the evening. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, from Jess Rakowski, Victor Valley, Jared Lott, Chad Irvine, Justin Robichaux, Cody Erdman, Ethan Halsey, and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, and I hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the OSRL GT3 Series tonight from Daytona, and be sure to join us Tuesday in Richmond for the OSRL Cup Series. But until then, so long, everyone.